In today's episode, we discuss the current state of the world, discipline and hard work, the benefits of wrestling, the current education system, and more. I really hope you'll enjoy today's episode, and if you'd hop on and leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice, it really helps me to spread the word about the show. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy the show. Today's show is brought to you by Icepod, finally an affordable, portable, and effective way to get the benefits of cold water immersion in the comfort of your own home. I opted for the Pro Bundle, which includes the Icepod, a water circulating pump, a special insulated lid, and a thermometer to check the temp of your water. Even in Georgia, the Icepod keeps my water between 60 and 70 degrees, and when I load it up with a 36-pack of water bottles that I use and refreeze after each session, I can easily get it around 50 degrees for the perfect cold water immersion experience. Despite being light and portable, the Icepod is super durable, and it's the perfect solution for anyone who wants to experience the benefits of cold water immersion without spending thousands of dollars for a home water chiller or trying to DIY your own. Cold immersion can help with recovery and muscle soreness, raise dopamine levels, help you wake up and be more alert, help you to burn more calories, mobilize brown fat, and more. Visit podcompany.com and use my special promo code SHANE50107 for $10 off your order, and each sale helps to support the show as well. Stay cool out there, people. Are you looking for the perfect high-protein snack that isn't loaded with stuff like MSG, nitrates, and sugar? Carnivore Snacks is the perfect high-protein snack made from quality grass-fed beef and salt. That's it. Each bag uses 1 pound of high-quality beef, lamb, pork, or chicken, salt, and nothing else. Aside from being easy, healthy, and convenient, they also taste great. These snacks are not just another jerky. They are way better. Give a bag a try, and I know you'll keep coming back. Check out Carnivore Snacks, spelled with an X.com, and enter coupon code SHANE05137 for 15% off your order, and each sale will help support the Renaissance Wisdom podcast as well. Welcome to the Renaissance Wisdom podcast, where ancient and modern wisdom come together to create a better way of living. I'm your host, Shane Sorensen, and each week we speak with successful people from a plethora of disciplines in search of wisdom from their own lives. Your own personal Renaissance begins today. Let wisdom be your guide. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Renaissance Wisdom podcast. I'm here with today's guest, Dan Severn. Welcome to the show.
Well, I did not know that it was called the Renaissance. I've been known as the Renaissance man.
Oh, I can see it. You've been a very busy man in life, so we got a lot to talk about.
And I'm only at my midlife crisis right now. That's what I'm hoping for.
Oh man,
the goal is 125. That is what the goal is.
Okay,
so
well, you're doing well.
If I'm at 65, well then I should be about ready for my midlife crisis.
Yeah, I had mine early. I'm 34, and I had mine a couple years ago. I went a little bit wild. So I don't know what that says.
Would you care to elaborate on what do you mean by going a little bit wild?
Yeah, I don't know. I went through the phase of like wanting to buy this little convertible, and just like kind of all the typical midlife crisis stuff I kind of went through. So maybe it was like my third life crisis. I don't know.
I was never into the car type of thing. To me, it's like a car was nothing more than a tool for me getting from point A to point B. And if you saw some of the vehicles I've owned, you would understand that from Dan Severn's perspective.
Sure.
So
I think that's a good way to be.
Cars were nothing more than trying to get the most economical gas type of a vehicle, and knowing that it'll be just me in the car. And then the desk will be the passenger seat to my right, and then however much stuff that I could pack in the trunk and the back seat, and even on the passenger seat at times. Knowing that it'll be just me, because not too many people can conform to the kind of schedule that I do.
Sure. Well, and that's a great segue to kind of just I think a lot of the listeners probably will know a little bit about you, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, again, I think some of the younger people won't know, but I think that they should know because it's kind of like going. A lot of the young people, they're at a, I don't want to say a disadvantage, but they do have a more of an uphill battle. We have some strange economic times that are
Yeah,
taking place. You have higher gas prices. Once again, you've got inflationary type of things. Your money's not going all that, but all that far. It's getting eaten up a lot faster. Uh, you have a government that is not being held accountable for their actions and stupidity. I
yeah,
can't say it much blunter than that.
yeah. I'm with you 100% on all of
Through
that.
through COVID, it wasn't the COVID pandemic that caused the problem, but during the same course of the same 2 years, a new disease erupted called stupid assitis. It spread like wildfire, and I couldn't believe how Americans became so dumb.
Yeah,
Then again, I'm blunt. I've got, to me, it's like going, can I turn the United States around? Hell yes. With people like my methods, hell no. I balanced the budget, and no money would screw us with our military and stuff like that. The stuff that's happened to our military, our law enforcement, it's bullshit. All bullshit.
it's definitely, and that's one of
Your,
the
your
questions
segment,
I.
your segment may not fly too well here, Shane. Is what I'm trying to say right now because I'm not going to run around with blue hair. I'm not going to put this morning I woke up and I was a little confused here about my gender here right now, and I'm making if you have our so-called leadership cannot give you a definition of what a woman is, what a man is, you're not my leader. You're a dumbass and get out of the job.
Sure. I mean, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you about was the state of the world, right? Because you've got some experience in life, so
I I know why. I know why everyone's coming to the United States because it truly is the land of opportunity.
mhm.
When you go to some of these other countries and you realize, and see, the thing is, most Americans, they will be born, raised, live, work, all within probably a 50, probably no more than a 100-mile radius from where they were born. They
Sure.
won't. You'd be surprised how many will never leave their own state, not travel. They don't really. They don't educate themselves really beyond the school system, and that is the school system. It's a joke. Again, I actually have a teaching degree. I've substitute taught at a lot of different schools. I'm the number one sub. When I go back to Michigan, I'm the number one sub that they'll call on for the county. And when I'm in Arizona, I'm the number one sub that they'll call on because they simply know that Dan Severn doesn't put up with bullshit.
Yeah.
I walk in and I see these lesson plans that some of these teachers leave for me, and literally I throw right back in the cubbyhole. I go, this teacher should be fired. Can't. And I go,
Yeah.
but what can they say to me? They can't say nothing to me because I'm the sub. Who are they going to get at the last second? It's not trying to say that I'm the last card. No, I will actually go in there and I will teach. Even though, Shane, what do you think? The standard, if I'm a sub, the standard lesson plan will be I walk in there, I tell them who I am that morning and who I'm subbing for, and I take roll, and then basically it's like read chapter whatever, and then here's your little handout, answer these questions, and for the next 50, 55 minutes, I sit there like a bump on the log. That's it. So I got to go, that to me, that's not teaching.
Yeah.
Like the first time I ever went in to be a teacher, I wrote my name, Mr. Severn, on a chalkboard. I just sat there and I wait until the class came in. I got in there earlier, and then I would come in, and all the young bucks, they're like knuckle bumping each other, stuff like that. Like they're not going to be doing diddly squad today again. I knew what it was like because I remember when I had subs. what happened to that poor sub and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, how am I going to get the upper hand here right now? So as soon as I waited till the bell ring, I stood up and I had the piece of chalk right there. I'm like, good morning, class. My name is Mr. Severn. If you have a hard time pronouncing Severn, you can call me Mr. S or Coach. I've been a coach most of my life. If you want to know anything more about me, you can simply go to my website at thebeast.com. Now, every high school has a computer lab. By second hour, they go, who is this guy? By third hour or fourth hour, by lunchtime, it's all across the school. He's a professor of this. He's a cage fighter that. He's done this and that interesting. And then, by later in the afternoon, the first brave hand will be raised and like going, and I'll call upon them. They're like, well, Mr. Severn, you know that you can't lay hands upon us. I go, au contraire. There will be repercussions if I should lay hands upon you. So if I need to lay hands upon you, rest assured I'll make it worth my while.
Make it a good one.
And again, this guy kind of good. Am I bluffing, or do you want to find out? But then, but now, I mean, the thing is, once I've been there a couple times, they love me because I will engage them for the first time ever in how to use your friggin' brain. Because you got to realize, again, the lesson plan is read whatever these 2 or 3 pages, then you got to answer this little questionnaire. I'm not going. I go right online. You read the first paragraph. Next person behind you reads the next paragraph. So literally, as they're reading, I start making marks as to who can't read. And so by the end of the day, I'm like, Bob, Billy, Jim, I need to see you guys after class. Again, it's because it's kind of going. It's not. I don't want to embarrass them in front of that class. But once the class is done, and then once we head out of the classroom, I'll speak to those 3, 4, 5, or 6 typically young men who can't read or they can't read very well. And I go, you need help. I go, I'll be more than happy to pass your names out to the English teacher, lit teacher. They can help you. Learning how to read is going to open up the world to you.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm not doing this for my benefit. I'm not here. I didn't embarrass you in front of your rest of your class. I'm here talking to you 3 that can't read. Okay. I am being pretty blunt about it at that point. And then it's that's one thing to do. But the other aspect is now, so I have them reading, but then it's kind of like we're gonna either succeed as a group or we're gonna fail as a group. So I've got the answers to I've got the answer keys here now as well. So again, a question comes up back there. Who's the first, president of the United States? And it's George Washington. I go, you're incorrect. And then the class, like they're out there, they all look around like they're all afraid to say something. I go, well, what's wrong? And then again, the next brave hand where I go, well, Mr. Severn, that's not correct. I go, well, what's the answer then? And it's like, it's George Washington. And I go, guess what? You're correct. I go, it's okay to disagree with an adult. I said,
Yeah.
You just have to know how to do it, and you have to give them some facts and figures and some other stuff that are with it. You guys at your young age, you just like, well, you're wrong just because you're dumb and ugly or something like that. Again, there's no rationale behind what their rationale is right there. I said it's okay to disagree, have some points that you're going to disagree upon. And so now when I go into the classroom, they're like going, oh, Mr. Severn's here, game on, because he's going to be tripping us up. So again, I'm making them use their brain for the first time ever. They got to actually think about some of these answers and stuff like that. Because again, they're still going to read, and I'm still going to point out to whoever is either reading better. Okay, you're doing a good job right there, Shane. I see you've actually been going to the English teacher, and you've been taking some classes from there and stuff like that. Because again, it's not to benefit Dan Severn. I'm here to benefit you. I'm trying to make a better tomorrow. And again, I got no investment into this kid. He's not my family member, nothing like that. But it's kind of going. But that's the same way I am about my own personal training facility. I really care and try to make people better. I always tell when I run the youth classes, I go. I don't guarantee that I'm gonna make you a better athlete. I will make you a better person. And that's what I tell mom and dad. I go, they're going to learn good character traits. That's one of the things I do like about the martial arts is that the amount of respect that they have with the yes sirs and no ma'ams and things of nature. And then I'll give them other lessons of what to do about surprise your mom and clean up your room, make your bed, pick up your dirty laundry and stuff like that. Do something kind. Thank your parents. I mean, just little things like that. And also moms and dads like, who are you? They don't even who possessed my son here right now, and doing this, and then it's kind of like then I have parents go, you're doing a good job. It's like
Yeah.
to me, it's like going again. I that's all I guarantee it. Even when they come to my facility, if their heads down, they're just dragging their feet. I put my arm across the doorway like I'm doing a clothesline. The professionals do clothesline. I put my arm there, they run into it, and then they look up. I go, "What are you supposed to do when you come to Mr. Severn's class?" Oh, I'm supposed to look you in the eye, and I'm supposed to shake your hand and say, "Hello, Mr. Severn." I go, "Yeah, let's do this." Again, it's good. It's stuff that to me, it's like I want them to succeed in this world. And when you look at how many young people actually know how to look at someone in the eye, make eye contact, shake a
Yeah.
hand, this is a good device if you use that device, but it's also the decline of civilization. Go
Amen.
into go into
Yeah.
any shopping go into
Yeah.
any shopping mall and do a quick 360. Find the one person that physically does not have it in their hand, and they're all like glued down to it. It's the all knowing, all powerful Siri. Please tell me this. I'm like going. Get a life. To me, it's a tool. I use it for a tool. I don't like to. I don't text anyone on it because I can't do this class. I never took this double
Yeah.
thumb class. I don't know how they can do this. I'm no single finger, pecking person that's on there. I do it on the laptop. I talk on the phone.
That yeah, I mean, do you think that because obviously you touched on a lot there. Do you think that just lack of discipline is one of the biggest because
Oh,
that's something
sure,
I see
sure,
is just
sure.
a
I mean,
lack of discipline.
well, yeah. Well, first off, the American family has changed over years. It
Yeah.
just has changed. I mean, there was, if you go back to those again, let's say 40s, 50s, these are typically the woman stayed at home and they were a homemaker. They weren't in the workforce, stuff like that. Then when you look at, World War One, World War Two, where basically men are off and engaged in war, and now you have the industries are hurting stuff like that for our new workforce. So now you got the women joined the workforce. That was like a big thing right there. But it just in today's economic time, you really it's gonna be tough to make it on one income.
Yeah.
Both parents have got to be working, hopefully in a way that because the female is usually always the better nurturer than what a male is.
Yeah.
A male, I mean, they'll nurture to a certain thing, but they're not going to do all the nice things that to do with poor little Bobby's got a little boo boo on him, and I got to kiss the little boo boos and stuff like that. So I mean, it's that's it's like kid, Bobby, just rub a little dirt into it. Let's go. Come on now, that kind of thing. That's the difference between moms and dads. But it's I'll say that was the first stage. So there is this ongoing uh, breakdown of the American family because two parents have got to work. But if you can
Yeah.
work it out correctly to where the mom has a job that somehow mirrors children being in school, so that okay, as they're going off to school, she's heading off to work. Popsy's going to be working whatever shifts, this first, second, or third shifts, is just whatever he's trying to do because hopefully he's still, it's not that I'm looking at he's going to be the more dominant breadwinner, but honestly, in a lot of ways, yeah. If it was up to men to give the birthing process, it would be a pretty sparsely populated world. I was there. I watched it as I
Yeah.
go, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I go, no. If it, yeah, it just said women are troopers when it comes to this kind. They could give birth, and then, like a few months later, it's like they're like going, I think I might have another. I'm like going, oh, don't touch me. No, this will never happen again. This horrificness of I just watched it. Of they went, rah. Yeah, no.
Yeah, this incredible cage fighter that's been his whole life getting beat up, beating people up, all this, and you're like, you see the childbirth, and you're like, not for me, not
Oh
for
well,
me, I
no,
can't do it.
again, it's one of the most incredible things to watch.
Sure.
But then I'll say I watched it on a human species, but then I grew up on a farm. So you name the animal, I watched it being born
Yeah.
on the farm. So again, I had a lot of previews of things to come, and it wasn't quite the same thing. You're at the farm. You're usually trying to help the cow, and sometimes you got to help pull the calf by the hoofs and stuff like that. I've watched you name again. Like I said, you named the animal. We raised it. I watched it give birth, and you learn not to give it pet names because sooner or later they're going to end up on your plate. You
Yeah.
raise chickens because there's eggs that you get from the chickens, but then when you're picking up anywhere between say 400 to 600 chickens in the spring, and then every let's say about every month or every other month you do a Saint Valentine's Day massacre where you take down 100 or more chickens. You know, that expression of you run around like a chicken with your head cut off. I mean, people think that's an expression. No, literally, you chop a chicken's head off and literally you just whop it, you throw it out, and literally it will run around until it finally falls over once again. So again, it's an expression, but literally chickens will run around with their head chopped off.
Yeah, I know. I grew up on a little bit of a farm. I wasn't like a farm boy. Uh, we didn't really have.
What kind of animals, crops? What'd you have?
Well, I was in the middle of a cornfield, and the owner of the farm. So we just rented the farmhouse basically. The owner of the farm, they had pigs, and
Uh-huh.
I remember one time.
Chasing pigs a few times.
Yeah, and got
Did they
chased
got
by the
out?
pigs. Also, they can be pretty aggressive, especially the mama pigs, the sows. So
Oh, yeah, the sows, yes.
yeah,
Especially after they had one or two litters, they'll actually grow a tusk on top of that, and they're very protective of their young. And I mean, there are different stories of not stories, but actually cases where an older farmer might have fell down, hit his head, and the pigs basically devoured him.
yeah,
Because a pig will eat anything and everything.
whatever.
Again, I grew up on a farm. We had pigs, and we had to when the different sows would have their litters. We'd have to grab out the little piglets there because then we have to castrate them, and it's the little piglets are squealing up a storm, and the mama sows are frothing at the mouth, and they're trying to come over the pen to try to get at you to get things, and you gotta keep them. You gotta knock them back in and keep them in there, and then the piglets are done. You get back in. Mama settles all back down, but it's just things that you have to do. It's the same thing you have to do with cattle, or
Yeah,
otherwise the males become very aggressive. It's kind of like what's happening inside the United States there with a lot of these woke individuals wanting to go out and neuter a bunch of men right now, just so that they can go off and be transgenders.
yeah. There's definitely like it seems like there's a pretty concerted effort to dismantle traditional masculinity in general, right? I mean, a lot of the things, even just things like
But
fitness and I mean, just a lot of traditional values are really being taken apart.
when when's the last time you heard about the Presidential Physical Fitness Awards?
When I was in fourth grade, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get it's because it had been around for years. I mean, in your when you recall back to even your high school days,
yeah.
uh, your phys ed class, how many people or what percentage of the class did not even dress out? 10%, 20%, or more. Didn't
Yeah,
even dress out, and yet they passed. Why did they pass? They didn't dress out.
No child
We
left
we
behind, right? It's like you just got to pass
well,
everybody.
but again, are they doing a justice or an injustice? It's like, well, a lot of people say, well, what does phys ed teach you? Well, it might teach you not to be a big turd that's about 500 pounds. That's what it might teach you. But then we don't really teach really good health classes in a lot of our school systems as well. And then you got to look at the meal that they're serving at the cafeteria. How much
Yeah,
junk is usually on it? It's kind of
yeah,
going, are they really doing the right job? Again,
yeah.
I'm not trying to say that we're doomed. It's just that can things change? It can be corrected. Sure, it can. But parents have got to learn to be parents once again. I'm not saying you got to be like, a Gestapo German leader that and you must do this only this way, otherwise, it's the gulag for you. No, I mean, you don't have to be like that. But you get there's got to be repercussions for actions or inactions. Because even and that was actually one of the things that I had a dispute with my better half at one point. That because she always said warning, warning. It was always warning. Now it's like if all you keep doing is go warning, the inmates are never going to. How are they ever going to respect that? You got to follow through. Growing up, we used to be doing. If my father ever got to the third time yelling up the stairs at my brothers and I, we're in deep shit. You
Yeah.
get away with the first one or two. Don't ever let pops get the three.
And it was the threat of the third one that kept you guys in check, right? I mean, it wasn't.
Oh, of course, but then there was a few times where pops kind of threw us off of our game plan. I always figured, well, okay, we're good for the first two, but no, there was every now and then he would foul us through on number two. But
Right.
it wasn't like a beating. It might be a swift kick in the hind end or something like that. I don't, I never got hit with a belt by my father, nothing like that. But there might be a swift kick in hind end and be like, kid, get your. The standard line was get your head out of your ass and die right. And so again, that's something that has carried over to me because I'll say that to some of the people I interact with. I go, get your head out of your ass and die right. They look at me and go, what does that mean? I go, it means you're being stupid right now. That's what it means. You're being stupid right now, and you got the risk of doing some really dumb things right now that could cause you some bodily harm, stuff like that. So it'd be break it down here just a little bit. Get your head out of your ass and die right. Don't do because you did something stupid. Live a good life. Die right.
Yeah. So, look, hearing about your childhood, hearing about the teaching, and I know that a lot of your background in martial arts came originally from wrestling, right? I mean,
Oh, amateur wrestling is my again. I like any other physical education. I love the PE class. I shined in that. To win the presidential physical awards. Why doesn't Joe Biden bring that? Why doesn't Joe Biden have pride in the presidential physical awards so that he can go out there and just smell all kinds of children?
yeah,
Hand
have
out all those awards, even to the ones that are, oh, sorry, you didn't place at all, you didn't pass, but nevertheless, let's give you a courtesy sniff here right now.
they can rub the hair on his legs in the pool,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But again, yeah, I, the irony there is that okay, they test Trump for cognitive ability, and they aren't going to, and the Republicans aren't going to test Biden for his cognitive ability. What
Yeah.
what again, I have no reason. I am actually I despise both parties. I'm not a party person. I hate them both because most of them don't know what an honest day's work is, and they write bills and they make words of promise that again make them held accountable. You said this, so under your watch of the 4 years and nothing happened good, we strip you of your finances. We take away your home, the whole 9 yards. We incarcerate you to hard labor. You might rethink your words a little bit more because and why do we spend literally billions of dollars when you look at all the millions of dollars that add up for everyone running their election. Why don't we just say each person gets, maybe $1 million? That's it to run their election. Because look at all this god awful money that gets spent on these elections because they think that, okay, I'm dealing with a lot of dumbasses out here, but if they keep hearing my name all the time, when they get from that ballot, they'll see my name and they'll put a little check box right there. That's pretty sad that's what they think of the American population.
It's one of the missions of my show, of my book, of everything is to try to introduce a little bit of wisdom back to people, because when I look around, I really feel like wisdom is missing, right? I don't see much of it. I see a lot of just almost like farm animals, just like people going along and buying what they're supposed to buy and reading what they're supposed to read if they read it all. And it's almost
Oh,
like
yeah.
the whole system's just a factory to turn out these like
This, again,
automatons.
Siri. It's the know all. I have to ask. I said, Siri, please, please pop up this, please, because Siri is like the all knowing. It's there was a comedy movie. Um, I think the title was called Idiocracy.
Yeah,
Came out somewhere in
idiocracy.
the 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, where you had like a professional wrestler was the president, a black president on top of all that, very controversial. And the only liquid that everybody drank was green Kool-Aid because it had electrolytes, and nobody knew how to do anything, and literally everyone was dumb. And I'm like going, wow, maybe that movie really was not so futuristic or comedy. I mean, it looks like a lot of civilization today.
Yeah. So what could save it? What's your opinion? Like what do you think could
Well, okay,
correct
like
the
this,
ship?
well, combination of things is parents get back to parenting. Again, if you want to bring a child into this world, take some accountability for it.
Yeah.
Parent it, nurture it, and discipline it when warranted. I'm not saying beat your child, but there's got to be repercussions for inactions.
Kids need
School
barriers.
system school system has to educate better. I mean, when all of our foreign countries are teaching a better education than what we do in the United States, it's sad. I mean, it's you see these different little YouTube videos, and people are like trying to go out there and just ask people of when was the Declaration of Independence in the United States, and what does July 4th stand for, and this that and this. It's sad that these young people know nothing, and you want them to be allowed to vote. I think there should be an IQ test in order to vote. There really should be. And when you're trying to do things, and all of a sudden it goes, sorry, you're not qualified enough to vote. Next, because there are people that they vote for all the wrong things. They vote because I don't want to work. All I want is free, free, free. I want to be a parasite to society. Bye bye. Go bye bye. All right, here's one that probably, I don't know. You could probably think about a very sick, twisted, mean type of person. Okay, why do death row prisoners sit on death row for the next 20, 30 years? They were sentenced to death. Why do they sit on death row for the next 20 to 30 years on taxpayer dollars, and they have better dental, optical, and medical that our taxpayers are paying for, and they're better than what you and I have. Why? They,
My
they, the
Because somebody's getting rich off of it, I
the
guess.
judge always said death.
Yeah.
Why don't we? I mean, if you really want to put some good use again, why don't we get all of our chubby kids out there and let's do a good old fashioned stoning, so we get some exercise for all these kids, and we take out the perpetrator on top of all this. I
There
get.
you go.
I'm going a bit too far on that one, but it's I'm literally killing two birds with one stone. Da-da-da. Yeah,
Yeah, I
there you
mean,
go.
yeah, and it's saving a lot of money too. You're like you're
Yeah,
saving the
well,
taxpayer dollars.
trust me. Like I said, can I fix the system? Oh, sure I could, but people were not going to like my methods. I should say, not everybody. You'd be surprised how many people would be very supportive of what I'm doing. Because again, the United States was the strongest country in the world.
Yeah,
Again, was.
yeah, it is sad. I mean, I still I have a lot of like kind of like a romanticism for the United States, and I think that it's really the spirit of the United States has been lost in a lot of people's lives, and I think it's a really sad thing, right? Because it was this beautiful idea that no matter where you were from, you could come in, you could start a new life, you could build a life here, and celebrating freedom. And it's like the whole culture that the United States was built on has just been completely dismantled, right? I mean it,
Well,
and
what the Statue of Liberty represents.
yeah,
Please come, give us your sick, give us your poor. But again, do it the right way. Can't just simply have open borders and just floodgate people on in because where are they going to go? Who are they going to live with? You can't just open up borders like that. You got to look. I mean, when you look at a lot of the major cities, and you look at how many people are living on the street.
yeah,
Now they're not all foreigners. There's still a lot of, maybe military that they might have some PTSD or something of that nature that they have a hard time holding down jobs. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons for where people are on the street, but that's kind of sad when you go to Washington D.C. One of the biggest ghettos is right across the street. They always show the picture of the White House, but across the street from it is one of the biggest ghettos.
yeah. DC's rough. It's a rough place.
To me, it's like how many Americans have ever been to the White House? How many Americans have ever been to see the Statue of Liberty? Or have ever gone to see the Washington Monument, Lincoln's Monument, see some of the different great uh, other monuments that they have there? But again, take a tour.
Yeah,
So I've taken different trips. Each of my children have taken uh, the trip from hell with their pops.
that's a good thing, right? Like having that family, just having that family together,
It is.
going and seeing things.
I think so. But again, I like to have like one-on-one time. I five different children. I say children, but their youngest one is 21. The oldest one is I think 35 or 36 now. I keep changing them every year. Just when I had to figure it out, it changes again on me. So, but so they're not children, but I mean, they've had different trips with me, and to see that Dad puts down some pretty hard miles. But at the same token, Dad sees a lot of cool things. Gets a good chance to do a lot of cool things on top of that.
Yeah,
Cool stuff. You know, I truly like what I do, and I really want it to end? No, I like what I do, and I'm making a difference. I make people either think for the first time, or another people I'll help to take action in their life, whether they want to be a competitor or whether they want to be a better person. It's easy by simply just pulling out pulling out a piece of paper. Not you don't have to have a planner, but pull out a piece of paper and just write one or two goals for yourself. But look at those goals every morning when you get up. Look at those goals every night before you go. Say your prayers and make that goal part of your prayers and stuff like that. You can. It's like the media. There's a lot of crap media that has a way of brainwashing people.
mm-hmm.
You can brainwash people into doing bad, and you can brainwash people into doing good. I try to forget all the bad stuff to hear all the stuff like that. Going, move on and try to surround yourself with more positive people. Have you have you ever watched the movie Rocky?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, the very but the very first one out of the whole series, I like the very first one the best because they actually had a lot more good lessons to it. And so Rocky's, he's got these little gang of kids that's always hanging out there, and they're just kind of like hoodlum little kids stuff like that. He's like, if you hang around with a bunch of yo-yos, he says, you're just going to be a yo-yo too. He says, you got to hang around with a better class of type of people. You'll upgrade you and stuff like that. I'm thinking, he's doing this all in this character, but it's like the same thing. It's like, but it's the truth. You are a product of who you hang out with.
Yeah.
And then some things, and Shane, even in your own life right now, you have had different goals of what you want to do. Some of the hardest people are your family and friends, because your friends, they do a lot of talking. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But how many of them really do anything? See, to me, it's like, I never told anyone really what my goals were, other than, I might, because I in the fall I played football in high school. In the winter I was a wrestler. In the spring I was a track and field person, but I also wrestled. And the track coach simply knew that if there was a Saturday track meet and there was a Saturday wrestling meet, he was not going to see me at the track meet, because I was vested into my sport of wrestling. Because I at first it was like, by my freshman year, I thought, well, my first thought was, I'm going to, upon high school graduation, I'm going to go into the military, give up 4 years of my life, and then go to college on the GI Bill. That was my first thought.
Mm-hmm.
But by my sophomore year, I have a couple of college coaches go, you keep up the good work, there might be some scholarship money for you. But I go, we have option number 2. Let's exercise option number 2. And so I just, put more time into doing folk style, freestyle, Greco, and, and it worked out for me. But it was like, but I would go out maybe for a little while on a Friday night, and my friends are they are getting shit faced. They're like, damn, why don't you party? Well, I got to make weight tomorrow, and I don't want any alcohol to affect me in my performance tomorrow. But you go, what are they doing with their lives? They weren't going to compete tomorrow. They weren't looking at college, things of that nature. I was. So it's kind of like going, but then they try to attack the manhood card. They're like, Dan, you're being a pussy. Well, no, I'm not. Because I go, I'm not being a pussy. I go, I have goals, aspirations. I go, alcohol is going to affect me. I may not make weight. I have to go up into every weight class. It's going to impede my performance. And then if they just do it, just leave. But a lot of those people, they still are in communication with me today. And like going, and they're proud of your accomplishments. They're proud that they know you. They're proud that they went to school with you. They were part of your graduating class, or they were a team member on the football team. They were a team member on the wrestling team. They're a team member on the track and field or whatever. They knew you. Oh yeah, I knew Dan Severn when he was just a weenie little 17-year-old high school wrestler. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
What do you think? What do you think one of the biggest lessons that you learned from wrestling was? Because I know wrestling is, for anyone that doesn't wrestle, hasn't done wrestling.
You get out of work what you put into it. You get out of life what you put into it. It mirrors life, and it's what I don't like about football, basketball, baseball, stuff like that, especially in junior high and high school. You have coaches that play God over children. And typically they have a pony or two invested because they might have a son. I had to deal with this with a couple of my own kids, where the high school football coach, he's got a son that sucks. But is his son playing? Sure enough.
Yeah.
And some other poor son that's got to sit out. Yeah. So again, that's where. Well, I got a few. So we'll just move on from there.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, wrestling. So I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. I did a little bit of wrestling, and I do a little bit of wrestling just to complement my jiu-jitsu. But
jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Yeah, I've always, jiu-jitsu is so different. Even though I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, I've always felt like in MMA, especially, wrestling is the base that you want, because there's something about that wrestling mentality. You don't see a lot of jujitsu guys with that like grind. Something about wrestlers and the way that they train and the way that the way that you come up through the ranks. It's like you just enjoy the grind. Where I think in jiu-jitsu, it's, they put a little bit more emphasis on like being smooth or being technical.
Mhm.
We,
Well, I mean, in the sport of wrestling, it's a sport. It's a sport. Well, jiu-jitsu is the exact same thing, where you're imposing your will upon another individual,
yeah, yeah.
and you are breaking them. You're breaking them a couple different ways. You're breaking them physically first, and as you break them physically, then it goes to the second stage of mentally. Because as you're breaking them physically, in the back of the mind, especially if it starts going into the cardiovascular realm of being broken, it's kind of going, oh no, I'm getting tired. I don't think I can. I'm going to last to the end of this match. Oh no, I don't think. But that's all part of the physicality right there. So again, I go. You break people physically first, and then you break them mentally. On top of that, um, that was one of the things that I understood really quite well. But then also, what is the ultimate victory in the sport of amateur wrestling?
And specifically, like, I mean, the Olympics, right? I mean, that's pretty
Well, no,
much.
no, no, no. That's just level of competition. But what is the in winning? What is the best way to win? Is it winning by points? Is it winning by a pin? Is it
Oh yeah,
winning by
pin the guy, pin him or tech
yes,
fall him, right?
exactly. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so again, the tech fall was not involved in my era when I
Oh,
was still
okay.
in high school. The tech fall was not there. So the thing is that you could score a lot of points onto somebody uh, is one thing, but that you could by that you could show superiority. But the thing is, if you and I wrestle and you just beat me by a couple points, in the back of my mind I'm thinking, oh well, Shane just beat me by a couple points. I could get better, and I can come back and come back at him. But if you physically grab me and against my will put me on my back and you pin me, you own me at that point in time. You broke me physically against my will. You broke me and you put me on my back. The pin is the ultimate thing to do because you've stolen their soul. So the next time you face them, in the back of their mind, they're going, "Is he going to pin me again? Is he going to pin me again?" And
Yeah.
that's where I valued the pin, and it was important for me to where, well, at one point in time, I held every state record for pins in the nation for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I held every record.
Was it, what was it about wrestling specifically that, like, because I know you mentioned you did a lot of different sports. What was it about wrestling that you were
Well,
drawn
again,
to?
wrestling, the definition of wrestling is it's a team sport based upon individual performances.
Yeah.
The team can lose, and I can still advance on. Again, in football, I have to rely upon 10 other players. Shane, I love the sport of football. Loved it. I was a one man wrecking machine. I mean, I
I
wish there was
bet.
actually videos of those time frames because I remember like shoulder pads, they're actually being broken up and stuff like this, and parts of it are coming off because I'm just crashing into people. I split a helmet before for spearing into people and that. I mean, when you could do that kind of thing. So I love football, and even when I was a freshman at Arizona State, the head football coach I had several football offers to go play football on a collegiate level. And my freshman year, even at Arizona State University, the head coach was a gentleman by the name of Frank Cush, and he had a very successful program and stuff like that. And he would come and watch the home wrestling matches. And then afterwards, he'd corner me. He's like, "Severn, you're an animal." He goes, "I see linebacker written all over your face." I go, "Coach, you got me pegged." I go, "I'd tear my heart out and I'd give it to you." I go, "But do you have 10 other players that are going to do that same thing?" And he paused. I go, "You spoke volumes because you paused."
Yeah.
Because I know the answer already. Because you got some people that they're just there because they're just happy to be there. Wrestling is like, I'm on this team. It's the definition, team sport based upon individual performances.
Yeah.
The team can lose and I can continue on. And I've been in that boat to where I did continue on and the team was left behind. It's kind of going, I can't pick up your slack. But at the same token, I mean, like, to tell you, we got a story. My freshman year in high school, I wanted to be the first freshman to make varsity. So the thought that most wrestlers is, to lose weight and be this monster at this other weight class. And so I end up, I think I weighed probably 165 pounds. I get down to 155-pound weight class, and when you're just a freshman and you go up against sophomores, juniors, and seniors, that 1, 2, 3 years of physical maturity
Yeah.
and experience. I mean, they crushed me. So again, I would lose at 155, then I'd go up to 165, then I would go up to 185, and then I went up to heavyweight. And literally, Val writes, the high school wrestling coach probably should not have allowed me to do the challenge match, but he saw, oh, this kid doesn't want to stop. And he allowed me to challenge the heavyweight. And somehow I tripped the heavyweight. He fell down. I fell on top, pinned him. And I won the challenge match. So I made varsity. But it also it opened up a few new obstacles because I did not weigh the minimum of 175 pounds. That was a rule, again, back in the 70s.
Mm.
But also, you could weigh in fully dressed. So I would go to scales and I would weigh in fully dressed, shoes on, coat on, and cans of pop in my pocket so that I weighed over 175 pounds. And I still remember, to this day, I still remember my very first match ever. I'm literally, I have a picture of me wearing a 155-pound uniform. And I'm next to my coach. My coach has got the clipboard on his chest, his arms crossed just like this. And my opponent is out on a match. And I'm next to my coach. I'm just bouncing up and down. I don't know why I'm bouncing up and down. I just saw all these other upperclassmen. They're bouncing up and down. Thinking, well, maybe I should be bouncing up and down, jumping bean here as well. And my opponent is out on the mat. And he's probably 6'3", 6'4", and he's probably about 285 pounds. There's not really bad weight on him. And the referee looks right at my coach. He goes, Coach, where's your heavyweight? My coach, arms around chest, got his clipboard. He doesn't even look at me. He just goes, poof. He just points to this little skinny thing at 155, bounces up and down. Referee looks at me, looks more at my coach. He goes, are you sure, Coach? And my coach just goes, there was no attaboy, go get it. It was like the sheep being led to slaughter. The match was done in like 15, 20 seconds because as soon as the referee blew whistle, he just came, crushed me, and it was over. So I always told people I didn't set the world on fire, but I came back again and again. And each time I came back, I got better. And I won more matches, And then by literally to in the season, conference championship came up, and it all boiled down to by match. If Dan Severn gets pinned, Montrose Hill McCoy High School loses. And I went out there, and I counted every light in that gymnasium dozens of times over because he had me on my back so many different times. So again, it's because he was, my coach trying to pin me, and the only like 3 or 4 points I might have scored was because he allowed me to escape just to hit me with like another headlock or lateral drop because he was trying to pin me on my back. And when the match was done, it was like a lopsided score. He probably beat me 20 some odd points to those 3 or 4 points that he gave me away, but he didn't pin me. And literally the whole team runs out on the mat, and they're picking up my crumpled body, and they're like rejoicing the whole 9 yards, and like going. And literally somehow I slithered out and went back around the corner of the bleachers, and literally I was crying because I was broken. This man broke me. Physically was breaking me in the whole 9 yards, and I went back there. But I told myself that I'll be back. I said, you broke me tonight, but you didn't pin me. You broke me physically, but you didn't break me mentally, and you didn't pin me. I'll come back, and I will get better. And that's because that's the theory I've kept with me at all times. I even have like a gentleman that I continue to see. He's one of the reasons why I went to Arizona State University. He's a very successful businessman. And he started the Sun Kiss Kid program for me in 1976 because I was the number one recruit at my weight class. And I told I let all the colleges know that I'm going to go to the program that has the best of both worlds. Sure, they have a folk style program, but I wanted to compete at the Olympic Games. I want to compete in the World Championships. I want to compete in the World Cup and the Pan American Games. I wanted to do it. So I want to be. I'm aiming towards freestyle Greco. So I want a good folk style program I'm going to be involved with. But knowing that I also, when the season comes to an end, I want to be doing freestyle and Greco on top of that. And when I went to Arizona State, I met one of the alumnus that said if I signed with Arizona State, he was our program, and that man was true to his word. And the Sunkist kids were born back in 1976. I'm the first original Sunkist kid, and it's one of the best clubs in the world,
Yeah.
still to this day. And my story was saying was like, because I've been to the same gentleman many times over. So he's still alive. I mean, he's in his latter 70s. Very very successful businessman. Just probably multi-millionaire, might even be a billionaire. For this juncture, for all I know. And I always go in to see him. And every time that I go in to see him when I'm in town, when he gets up to shake my hand, he doesn't know if I'm going to shake his hand, throw him into a Russian 2-on-1, throw him into a headlock, grab him to body lock or something like this. And he goes, Seven, he says, you make me nervous when you come by there. I go, his first name's Art. I go, Art, I just keep you on your toes. And I go, I keep you gamey so that when you're doing your business interactions, that you're gonna be sharp and stuff like that. And there's been different. I bounced different business ideas, and then they didn't quite go my way, and then I started to leave. He goes, I'm shocked. Yeah, he goes, are you actually leaving? I go, no, Art. I'm just. I go, I'm gonna retreat for right now, reload, but rest assured, I'll be back. I'll be back again because I'm relentless like
Yeah.
that. So that's where that's my follow through in life. I tell people, do I have I won everything? No, but I look at the loss. I'll try to chalk up as an educational type of aspect to it. What do I need to do to improve or something like that? And I'll come back and attack the same problem in a different direction,
Yeah.
knowing that Thomas Edison took him over 1,000 different tries before he created the light bulb. I mean, 1,000 tries. I'm thinking, easily after the first couple hundred, he might have thought, dude, I'm a loser. But he kept
Yeah.
on going. So again, you got to look at a lot of other great people that have created things or inventions wise or just just having that drive, that perseverance, which is something that too many young people just simply roll over easily.
Yeah.
It's not nothing new, but I'll say it's a lot more contagious, and people are giving up a whole lot easier. The heart, there's a great poem I think it's called "The Road That's Divided," and a lot of people take this one road, but they don't usually take the path less
Yeah. The road
less
less
driven
traveled.
or yes, exactly. Okay, yep.
I've
So it's
got it
kind
on
of
my
going
wall actually.
well, good,
Back
good.
back
So
here.
again, nice. Well, again, I wish I could share. I wrote a pretty wonderful, powerful poem called "The Match Promise." It's actually on my website, and I wrote that back in the '70s. And I keep even I had a son that followed in my footsteps, and he kind of failed, but I came back and set him down, and we put together a game plan. But part of that game plan was he had to read that poem every morning and every night, and he had to write his goals down on a piece of paper. And once again,
Mm.
he had to look at them every morning, so he knew that if he woke up in the morning, this is what he's looking to try to do. And every night, he had to look at that again. So again, I always say that you can brainwash people for good or bad.
Yeah. That's true.
There's a lot of bad things that are happening inside the United States with all this crap,
For
that's
sure.
going on.
What about like you personally? I mean, do you have daily habits that you go through?
Of course,
Yeah.
of
You were just
course.
telling me about the planner, right?
Yeah, well, the plan is just one aspect, but again, it's also trying to rise at a certain time. Sometimes that it gets screwed up because if I'm putting in if I'm driving for the next 30 some odd hours, 40 some odd hours,
Yeah.
you know, it's going to disrupt my sleep pattern, stuff like that. And there's been times when that I'll pull into a place just enough time to change from my travel clothes into my instructor clothes, and I have to zap a little caffeine into me, and then walk out on the mat, knowing that I'm walking out on the mat. They don't know what I just did, lay down miles wise. Doesn't matter. I'm
Yeah.
here. I have 2 hours to win them over with content. I love that. I love that challenge, and I'm very successful with it. Sounds kind of cocky and arrogant. No, I've got a good proven track record. I have too many people that bring me back again and again and again, and they're like going, they don't care if that they've had me there before. I might be teaching some of the same things, but there's like you brought a different nuance to it this time, or a different nuance to it that time. It always just depends on how did that person ask the question as to how I approach it. I literally, I try to get people to think about what they're trying to do, because each body has different capabilities. We're not all created equal. Some of us are
Right.
tall, skinny, thin. Some guys got neck. Some guys got these tree stumps. And I mean, each body is different, and you have to learn to teach. You know, when you look at the sport of wrestling, most wrestling coaches used to be that 150 pounder. Now, later life, they don't weigh 150 pounds anymore. They're more like 200 pounds, but they teach a lot of lightweight or middleweight type moves, and they try to teach. Again, one example is they're usually always try to teach a heavyweight how to do like a high crotch fibrous carry. Ain't gonna happen. Heavyweights are not built that way. You gotta look at the
Mm-hmm.
body type, and that's why I look. I look at people as what are the attributes when they walk out there. I work with. Again, we talked about the uh, Presidential Physical Fitness Award. Well, I work with law enforcement, corrections, air marshal, border patrol, military. And in the law enforcement and the corrections, I've been doing that class since 1995. And in the last uh, 5 years or more, I no longer sign their certificates. I actually have a former commander, stuff like that I will allow to set the classes, because again, he understands all the political BS that they have to jump through hoop wise. He understands all the how monies and stuff like that have to be appropriated and things that again of that nature. So I'll let him handle all that. I'll go in and teach a class, and I go, you sign the certificates and you send it to me. He goes, well, why won't you sign them? I go, because out of the 20 or 30 people that show up, I would probably only pass 5 or 6 of them, because physically fit wise, they're not physically fit.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder, oh, how many cows did they have to kill in order to make that belt to go around that person's waist? They're 300 pounds or 400 pounds. They can't do nothing. And I go, I
Sure.
said, I wouldn't pass them. I go, but the first time I failed an officer, and again, either corrections or in law enforcement, the command, not this commander, but the commander, because this was before I switched on over. The commander that hired me come out, you failed so and so, and I go, well, yeah, I'm aware of that. We said, well, we've never had anyone fail. I go, but they're not capable of doing any of the techniques. He said, but we never. He kept coming with that, but we never have anyone fail. I go, but it's my name. It's my name that goes on that certificate. So when a lot of people want to say, what is their lineage? I got my black belt from this person. I got my black belt from that person, whatever, whether it was for jujitsu or sambo or whatever. That means something to people. And it's like going, I won't sign that certificate. Because again, I know I take pride in what I teach. And I don't believe in no child left behind. I don't believe in everyone gets a trophy. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. Because what are you teaching the kid?
Yeah.
Teaching the kid or teaching the adult?
T- t-
You know,
yeah.
again, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of ways I could correct things. It's like when it comes to law enforcement, 90+% of the law enforcement agencies I deal with, they do not have a training facility. And I'm like I'll be like, oh Shane, let me teach you how to make goodwill inside your community right there. I go, do you have a local high school wrestling program? Do you have a local or a local junior high wrestling program? I go, give me the coach's name and number. I'll call the coach up and stuff like that, and I'll be like, Shane, I go, I would like to be able to utilize your wrestling room and your wrestling mats, for a couple day law enforcement class. We won't wear shoes on it. We're not going to tear up your mats by any means, stuff like that. They'll be either stocking feet or barefoot, stuff like that. I said, but we need to use your mats. I said, I'll be teaching a class basically starting around 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll be done probably around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. For you allow me to use your mats, I would like to run a wrestling clinic for you as a fundraiser for your program, because something tells me you could probably use a few bucks, because I know all wrestling programs have no money. And so, because I get, that's my background, and I look at it as, amateur wrestling is definitely a blue collar sport. And so the rest of the coaches like go, you will? Really? And I go, yeah, really. I go, and even then, I'll tell the law enforcement guys, I go, by that, again, 4 o'clock or so, they'll be done. I go, but why don't you, a couple of you guys come back later that night that all want to, and watch what I'm teaching these high school wrestlers or these junior high wrestlers. You see what I just taught you guys today, and then come back and watch what I'm going to do in the next 2 hours with these wrestlers. I said, and you're going to realize what I taught you was like a Band-Aid to a broken leg. And I'm teaching these wrestlers higher end skills because they already have a foundation. They know what double legs are. They know what single legs are. Most of them will know what a tie up is. They're going to understand maybe what a Russian 2-on-1 is, and I'll have a foundation to work from. And then I'll get into some more little nitty gritty. And I go, I'll even tell the coach, I go, Coach, I said I might have 3 or 4 officers that may want to come in later tonight. And I go, I need to give them a little bit mat space over the thing. Again, they won't have no shoes on or all like that, but I want to come in so they can realize what I'm teaching. What am I teaching this 150-pound wrestler? They'll have a hard time with a 150-pound wrestler. I'm talking about a 6 foot tall, 250 to 300-pound man is going to have a hard time with a 150-pound wrestler, because the wrestler is skilled at what he does. Yeah. So again, I don't do that to embarrass them, because I go, dude, you could be up against a football player. You could be up against who knows what at that point in time. And especially, now that you can have a boxer, because boxing's been around forever, but now you got this MMA fighter. You got MMA that's been around for 30 years now. So it's like going, you don't know what you may want to look at the bad guy's ears here real quick to see how cauliflower they're up, because you may not want to mess with that person.
Sure, you might want to call backup first, right?
Yeah, well, get this where it's deceptive, because I always tell people, look at my ears. I don't have cauliflower ears because I always wore headgear. They were the old-fashioned metal Cliff King style headgear, stuff like that, but they were good headgear. But most wrestlers did not know how to. I kept them so tight that I already needed a chin strap out there, because they just snug to my head. Because if they start shifting around, they're also going to screw up your ears on top of that. Because you come from a BJJ type background, stuff like that. Do they wear headgear? 99% of them don't.
Not usually, yeah.
But there is headgear available, but it's typically amateur wrestling headgear.
Sure. Another thing I want to ask.
A lot of foreign countries look at that as a badge of honor. I'm a Sambo practitioner. I'm a judo practitioner. I'm a jiu-jitsu practitioner. Yeah. So having that cauliflower ear, but yet the same token, I'm competing in freestyle Greco. And literally each time that you walk before the match, they want you to walk across the match and shake hands before the match starts. I go there, shake their hand, I look right at them. But I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at their 2 ears. Which ear is the most cauliflowered? So if I look at you and I see your left ear is more cauliflowered than with your right ear, I know that right now you're going to come all day long towards my left leg, because that's the way your head is going to be banging across,
Yeah,
banging
yeah.
across, banging across. I had to teach that to coaches because, again, these were coaches that only competed in folk style. They wore headgear. So, again, your ears are not your telltale sign. Freestyle Greco, most of these guys don't wear headgear. Foreigners don't wear headgear. I look at the ears and I go, that should tell. If he's got a Bastio ear on his left side, well, more than likely he's shooting towards the right because his head's going to be hitting all the time on my hip.
Smart.
Little
Makes
tidbits
sense.
there for you. I might have just,
Yeah.
I see the way you're looking at me and I go, oh, I tell you what, I got this gray haired man here actually knows a few things that I think.
Oh man, I don't question you at all.
Well,
Um,
but okay,
I wanted to ask.
let's stop up there for 1 second. Like the gray hair.
Uh-huh.
I've been coloring I have not done a single MMA match nor professional wrestling match. My hair has been colored at all times. I prematurely went gray at a young age, but I also understood
Hmm.
psychology 101. If I walk out onto a mat or I walk into a cage with gray hair or a gray mustache, what's the psychological edge I'm going to have on this person? None. If anything, I'm going to boost their morale. But if I keep it dark
Yeah.
and dastardly, psychology 101. If you know how to put on a good
Yeah.
game face, stuff like that, psychology 101. Even a lot of wrestlers, when they shake their hand, they're like, they're trying to crush your hand the whole 9 yards. It's like, so like, I just kind of just smile at them, knowing that, okay, we're on the mat for the next 6 minutes, 8 minutes, or at most freestyle matches when I first began, they were 9 minutes long, 3 minute minutes. That's a long time.
Yeah. The
So
the
go
last
ahead.
question. No, you're good. Yeah, the last question I really wanted to ask you too. I always like to ask all my guests this, but if you could go back like in time, hop in a little time machine and go back to a younger Dan and give yourself a piece of advice, what might it be?
Well, the fact that you can't do that. So I've been asked that question quite a few times. I go, well,
Yeah.
we don't have time travel. We don't have that ability. Uh, the reality is, I would not change anything.
Yeah.
If I could, Shane, you and I would not be talking right now. Had everything gone right for me in 1984, I would have won the Olympic gold medal in wrestling, and I would have retired, happily retired, and I would have been coaching amateur wrestling at either high school, junior high, junior college, and I'd be a teacher, and life would be good. But because things did not go my way, I was done unjustly, that I continued to move forward. And I use that. I mean, a lot of people go, "Oh, back in the day, you were really good." I go, "You never saw me when I was really good. I didn't start my cage fight career until 37.
Yeah.
What was I doing all those years before that? I mean, I was doing judo, sambo. I was doing other things at nature, and then but freestyle, Greco, and then if I found folk style match here or there. I mean, one of my greatest days ever was simply doing to be at a big national tournament, and here I am in the seniors or masters doing things. That I've got my son that's in the high school ranks doing it, so he ended up winning his national title. I ended up winning national title for for masters, and in fact, I could share that day with my son. That was great, So the sport, yeah, like I said, the sport's given me a lot. It's been a travel. Again, I've been to every state in the United States, and some of them are not too easy to get to. Like Hawaii's not good, easy to get to. Alaska's a little bit tough to get to. I've been to Hawaii, I don't know, half a dozen times, but also been to Alaska probably another half a dozen times. So, and all the others multiple times. But it's through my sports and travel or teaching.
Yeah.
But I like what I do, and I'll continue to do, and hopefully I will continue to inspire, because I always have people ask me questions. I'm here to help you. Some people, they might have to have their face rubbed into the cow pie reality a little bit because they live in a fantasy world.
Right.
I mean, I don't do it to be mean to them, but I always tell them that You can achieve your goals, but you have to realize, but what are you willing to sacrifice? We all have 24 hours in a day. How do you use your time? How much are you doing gaming? How much are you doing this? How much are you doing that? So there's, what are your priorities in life?
Yeah.
You say, because I do this all the time. I hear young athletes all the time. They talk and they talk. I'm going to do this. I just want to reach over and go. Shut up. You're wasting my oxygen. I don't talk about nothing. I just, Nike should have been all over me decades ago because I don't talk about it. I just do it.
Yeah. That's a lot of wisdom there. That's a lesson right there for sure.
No, it is. I mean, because most people are just talk their asses off.
Yeah. If anybody wants to reach out to you, anybody listening, and they they wanted to book you for a seminar or anything like that, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you to find you?
I was just going to close up with what does the ring name the B stands for? Because again, it's to me it has a lot of negative connotations, and anyone that knows Dan Severn knows I'm not a negative person. So the word the stands for Dan. Myself, uh, I'm a teacher, humanitarian, and I'm an educator. And my message to young people is beast: to believe in yourself, to educate yourself, to adjust your everyday attitude, to study hard, and then to teach others. That's what the B stands for me. So it's kind of going. It's not a negative connotation to me. It's like, but sometimes I'm not as kind about it because there's a lot of pretty dumb people in this world, and I'm using my father's wisdom right now to try to tell him to get your head out of your ass and die right. That's that. My brothers and sisters would be happy to hear that very well. Like I said, if you can post that, if people want to get contact me for whatever, Dan at danserver.com, just post that up in there as well. And life is good. Life is what you make of it. Not anyone else, what you make of it. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Renaissance Wisdom podcast, and hopefully you learned at least one lesson on today's episode. Our mission here is to uncover practical wisdom to create a better way of living for our audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us by leaving the show a review on your podcast platform of choice and by giving it a share on social media. This really helps us to grow our audience and to continue to add more episodes. If you are interested in learning more, please check out our website at RenaissanceWisdom.com or check out the book that started it all, Renaissance Wisdom: How to Flourish in the Modern Day, now on Amazon. Thank you again, and may wisdom be your guide.